I talk a lot about how to help dogs overcome their separation anxiety, but today I want to talk about when I don't actually recommend doing that. The first is if a person has a robust enough community network where it is easy to keep the dog with another person that they are comfortable with every single time they ever need to leave their dog for the rest of that dog's life, and it's not a burden on the humans. That is something we generally need to do throughout the training process, but most people are only able to do that for a temporary amount of time, and it's not sustainable for the 15 plus years that the dog might live for. But in cases where that is possible, it's generally a better option. The second situation where I don't recommend we actually work on training is when the dogs are basically at the end of their life. That is because a lot of the times when elderly dogs are experiencing separation anxiety, if they haven't experienced it through most of their life and it's a new thing that is occurring, it is very often because of a physical medical condition that has happened or a new trauma that has happened. And the thing about separation anxiety training is that it can take months or years to fully overcome the separation anxiety. And so, if we don't expect the dog to live more than 6 months, that's not a good use of your final days with that dog. Instead, it's much more appropriate to just put your time and energy into spending quality time with your dog, preventing the anxiety by enlisting the help of other people in the dog's life, and enjoy the time you do have left. And the last situation where I don't recommend we work on separation anxiety training is for baby puppies. And that is because it is normal for puppy development, puppy brains, to be upset about being isolated because it is literally dangerous for them to be isolated. They know that they rely on somebody else to stay alive. And if we start trying to work on separation anxiety too soon, it can either just simply not work, or it can backfire and cause them to become even more sensitive to the isolation because all of their exposure to it was happening when their brain was convinced that it is not safe. So, for puppies who are struggling with this, again, the recommendation is reduce the stress, keep them with you as much as you possibly can, and when you can't, keep them with another person and wait until they start to approach adolescence before you start to work on the actual training and learning aspect of separation.